The Kamov KA-50 Black Shark, also known as the Werewolf. One of the most terrifying aerial vehicles in the game. It was so dangerous that the community grew a special hatred towards it. A lot of players, content creators, even I was one of them. But was it justified? Is it really the most overpowered helicopter in the game? And even if it is, how do you utilize it so you can push it to its limits? Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bob Dickinson, and today we're going to review the KA-50 Black Shark. The helicopter that cripples anyone's soul who dares to stand against it. The KA-50 Black Shark was the first single-seat helicopter in the Russian arsenal. Also, one of the first attack helicopters to use the coaxial rotor mechanism, a revolutionary design by that time, to the point that the Russians made a dedicated propaganda movie around the KA-50 in the Soviet-Afghan War, by the name of Black Shark, KA-50 and Spetsnaz, with the main star of the show, the KA-50 Black Shark. But we're not talking about its history nor this movie, that will be a whole video for itself. For now, let's talk about the armors and modules. Welcome to the Armor and Modular Protection Analysis, where we basically analyze the armors and modules inside of a vehicle. Today's helicopter is the KA-50 Black Shark. As always, the first thing that we need to take a look at is the crew. Unlike the other conventional helicopters, the KA-50 has only one crew, which also has all the responsibilities of a weapons systems officer. Having both roles in the most intense situations is quite breathtaking, making the Black Shark as the only attack helicopter both in the world and in the game with only one crew. The pilot has CCIP on all of its armaments and an enhanced envelope gun sight, or EEGS, for its main cannon, including the cannon pods, with a fully dedicated and detailed gun sight in the cockpit, giving a great sim experience, which you should definitely try out. It has a TV auto tracker, a laser warning receiver, a radar warning receiver, a missile approach warning system, and also includes SPI with 128 countermeasures, including chaffs and flares, and with one of the worst zooms a top-tier helicopter can carry. And last but not least, night vision device. Sadly, this vehicle does not have any laser designator, IRCM, or thermals. Just simple night vision for piloting and not for the optics. While the AH-1F at 9.7 has a thermal sight. This is quite frustrating for players who want to play in night battles, since the TV auto tracker will not be functional and will be hard to track targets. Lack of thermals and its bad optics does not help the case either. What KA-50 does have is a 22mm bulletproof glass as protection, alongside the 20mm of armor protection scattered around the frontal side of the helicopter, and of course underneath the fuel tanks. And speaking of fuel tanks, it has 4 self-sealing ones, all positioned at the center, with all these fuel presets. Just like the Mi-24s, you don't have a lot of choices here, but still 1 hour of fuel will be enough, since this helicopter is not a gas guzzler like the AH-1Z. It has 2 Klimov TV-3117 BMA engines. These engines are originated from the Mi-24 helicopters, and they feel much better because of the coaxial rotor design and of course shorter blades and KA-50's lighter weight. Though not really that light if you compare it to the Mi-24. The KA-50 has 3 big blocks of oil cooling systems, alongside the transmissions, propeller shafts, and last but not least, the traction of the control surfaces. Overall, the design of the KA-50 is really new and weird for your average helicopter player. With the coaxial rotor design, the KA-50 can fly without its tail, with your worst enemy not being the SPAAs, but this specific thing. That, alongside the armor layout, makes the KA-50 to be one of the most tankiest helicopters in the game. And if you seriously want proof of that, just search for KA-50 on War Thunder subreddit. The coaxial rotor design is a whole different world compared to the rest of the helicopters, but right now we're not talking about it. For now, let's just jump right into the armaments. This helicopter uses an autocannon, and you have probably heard this 24 many times already, but this cannon was also used on the BMP-2M, giving the interesting loadouts of belts. The only issue you might have with this gun is its placement. The gun arc is extremely limited. Even though it has somewhat decent amount of depression, the elevation and horizontal gun arcs are extremely limited compared to something like the Bushmaster, forcing you to aim your helicopter towards the target. Other than that, this gun is really nice and can do the job for you. This helicopter can also carry 4 GSH-23 cannon pods. The first armaments that we have to mention on the KA-50 are the S8KO rockets, on 4 of these pods. These rockets are very good at what they're doing. The penetration, alongside its nice explosive mass, really makes it a necessary armament to carry. Though the distance between the rocket pods and the center fuselage or CCIP's gun sight might be an issue, which you will get used to it. And obviously, just like other helicopters, excluding the Mi-28N, Mi-35, and Ka-29, this helicopter can also carry 250 and 500 kilogram bombs. But since you are a premium helicopter, the FAB-250 bombs are practically better for more quantity engagement and are useless on other situations, as the 500 kilogram bombs will conquer 2 of the inner pylons and carry much more explosive mass and doing a much better job, deeming the FAB-250 bombs obsolete. Next up will be the one and only ATGM that this helicopter has at its disposal, the 9K-127 Vickers missiles. Now here's the thing about the Vickers ATGMs, these guys are one of the most overpowered missiles in the entire game. The KA-50 would not have been the KA-50 without these missiles. This ATGM is one of those that not only can take down ground vehicles with ease, but also can eliminate air vehicles with its proximity fuse. Having a nice penetration and good amount of explosive mass, alongside its shockingly great mobility and proximity fuse, makes it one of the best multi-purpose weapons on the battlefield. But can it be compared against other ATGMs such as AGM-114K Hellfire 2s? Let's do a comparison and see how they would work. Right off the bat, the Vickers missile is slightly heavier yet significantly faster and maneuverable with a longer range. Vickers missiles can shoot through the trees and smokes, which Hellfires does not. It also has proximity fuse for aerial targets, which Hellfires does not. Vickers missiles got a direct path towards their target. Hellfire's got an unusual flight path. Vickers missiles can also proxy fuse any missiles coming towards you, given if it's directly between you and the missile. This is where Vickers' superiority just simply comes to a halt. The Hellfire 2 has 50% more penetration, almost twice the explosive mass, and penetrates the vehicle in a better angle due to its top attack flight path. It has more guidance time because obviously it's slower, but the guaranteed and maximum launch ranges are practically the same. Whatever that means. Okay, Bob, we get it. What is the point of all this? To be honest, the Hellfires are really good at what they're doing, but at the same time, the Vickers missiles are far more capable at other things, being able to track aerial targets and shoot them down, even though K-50's tracking capability falls to the ground in night battles, which will be fixed on the Ka-50 too. The Vickers missiles used on the Ka-50 was not a dual-purpose weapon. It had 2 separate variants, one for the ground targets and one for the proxy fuse. Source?
Trust me, bro.
The Hellfire 2s were also able to go up to 11 kilometers range, but finding out and providing Gaijin if these things are true or not leads to several years of jail time. Anyways, did I mention that you could launch multiple of them all at the same time? Yeah, this thing is a beast. And last but not least, you got Igla missiles, 2 installed on only 1 pod. Now I have to say, the Igla missiles are an interesting experience, but let me ask you a simple question. Would you rather have 2 air-to-air missiles that are not really that great and got an incredibly limited launch view, or you could have 6 of the best ATGMs with proximity fuse? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. What you need to understand is that the Igla missiles will take up the same pylon as the Vickers missiles. It is really interesting to have 2 missiles on 1 pod, but it is in fact tactically useless. Vickers are much better in every single aspect, and they're not even comparable anyways. So, let's talk about the mobility. When it comes to Ka-50's mobility, it is... Alright, let me put it this way. If you know anything about helicopter mechanisms and know how to play this type of coaxial helicopters, you're going to have an incredible fun time. The pitch control is very strong, the roll rate is decent as well, but the yaw control is incredibly subjective. For example, on the mouse aim, it's decent, it's kinda normal, but if you go to full controls mode, you can spin like crazy.
To strike.
The thing about the K-50 or K-52 is that you have to understand how the helicopter works. As I said 100 times before, and I will say it 100 times again, this is a helicopter that has a coaxial rotor design. You see, usual helicopters use the main and the tail rotor, so if they want to turn to left or right, either they use the tail or the main blade's momentum. This is generally done by either having your collective pitch reduced to 0 and a sharp turn. Though in the K-50, due to the entire rotor design and the angle of attack the blades have, you must have enough collective pitch to turn left or right. This creates a totally different controls compared to something like an Apache. Your helicopter will not go right or left side just because you don't have enough RPM. It is because you don't have enough collective pitch. The damage model on the K-50 is weird as well. For example, you can take multiple stinger hits in your face and still nothing happens. But when you lose your tail, it's all over, because game forces you to go out. If you really want to experience how the coaxial rotors feel like, and you want to experience it all by yourself, you can always test drive this helicopter and see how the mobility feels like. My experience came from tens to even more than 100 hours of practice in the test drive. In my personal opinion, overall, the mobility is great. Let's take a look at the helicopter's usage in Ground RB, Ground SB, and Heli PVE. When it comes to Ground RB, I'm not really a guy who plays a lot of it, but there are a lot of ways you can play with this helicopter. You can rush to the battlefield and get a kill or two and die. You can also deploy as an SBAA unit by having 2 iglas and 2 or 3 gun pods. Also, apparently some people in the comment section actually explained how you can launch S8 KOs from the spawn and actually getting some kills. If you can actually do that, that would be amazing. Or you can get enough SP to operate the Vickers missiles. This is a great opportunity to farm your helicopter tree with the KA-50, as you got 12 Vickers missiles and your launch range is beyond most of the SBAAs. Maybe the ITOs can be an issue, but in general, you can get away with a lot of things. Thank God the Panzer S1 is on our side. Just remember that the K-50 has low zoom optics and cannot operate or initiate target locks in night battles. Also, be aware of the upcoming aircrafts on the enemy team. They might not have any advantage using missiles because, thank you MAWs, but I have to say, some of them hate you so much to the point that they will do a gun run on you. In that case, use your iglas or Vickers or your gun. You can also take down helicopters that are not aware of your presence. I don't know if it's a bug or a feature, but K-50s don't trigger any warning systems for some reason. At the end of the day, you will be the most terrifying machine you could imagine, alongside this guy and Slavic Truck Simulator. Welcome to the Ground Simulator Battles, a place where everyone can spawn in anything at the start of the battle. You are in a K-50, an infamous helicopter that is hated by the ground sim community. Every battle, at least 3 K-50s spawn by the helipad, rise up, dump their ATGMs, get many kills, and land. This is a great way to farm your heli tree, if you know how to do it really well. If you want to learn how to play helicopters in simulator battles, this is what you gotta do. You don't necessarily need HOTAS, you just need mouse and keyboard and a bit of practice. At least, this is how I learned it. Go to a test drive in realistic game mode. Switch your controls to full and play with the helicopter. Try to counter all of the wacky stuff your helicopter does. And then you realize that you forgot to activate the SAS mode. Upon activating the SAS mode to damping, bind your keys and practice how you can control the helicopter. Start with the third-person view, and once you're comfortable enough, start with the cockpit view. Imagine scenarios, like for example evading a missile in full controls mode, or do low passes or do some stun maneuvers with this helicopter to learn how to make it work. After that, you're ready for sim battles. Watch out for your surroundings and also open your cockpit for hearing upcoming jets. There might be a Skyray approaching you. That's me. Watch out for enemy SBAAs. Always look for enemy tanks and helicopters, and good luck on the battlefield. When it comes to Heli PVE, this helicopter is the best unit you can have. Not only this helicopter devastates the hell out of the enemy ground units, but also farms a lot of SL and RP for you. Let's have a look at the objectives in Heli PVE and see how K-50s will perform. 1. Destroying the enemy assaults and defenses. The K-50 shines at almost everything, and this one is no exception. The Vickers missile devastates every SPAA, MBT, and light tank. And even if you ran out of missiles, I'm sure that S8 rockets will be your good friend. Just aim for the weak points of enemy tanks like Abrams or the M60s, and I'm pretty sure that you will be the best in that match. Remember, you can also fire constantly and guide your missiles from long range as well. This is how you can kill steal and have a monopoly on the match, and get insulted by everybody else. 2. Destroying enemy convoys. Destroying enemy convoys are as easy as enemy assaults and defenses. All you need to do is to lock onto the ground target, slightly to the front, and then fire. Watch out for your distance between you and the SPAA. It should not be closer than the range that the SPAA starts firing. Be careful. Number 3. Destroy enemy attackers and bombers. As I said, the Vickers missiles have a proximity fuse. You can practice on the attackers and bombers on how you can engage aerial units and stomp them to death like nothing has happened. Use the lock and try to maintain the missile on the enemy aircraft by pressing the lock key again. I don't know why, but sometimes the proximity fuse does not work. Maybe I have a lag, or server hamster's not happy with me, or I got a terrible system. I don't know, man. Number 4. Capture base A and return to the ally helipad. This one is really interesting. It shows how good you can control a helicopter. Practice sharp turns and allow others to capture the base as well. Please be a good player, watch out for your surroundings, and do not crash into anybody. Number 5. Destroying enemy bases. The KA-50 is the easiest helicopter to use this task for. Why, you might ask? Because of the missile's range and the bombs. Rollins. Why did I write it like that? The Rollins will be nothing but a toy to you. The missiles are so fast that they can activate Roland's missiles, while the Vickers itself is still going. Truly some Matrix stuff. Remember, stay between 10 and 6.7 kilometers range of the Rolands, and then start firing your missiles with 1 second delay. Once you hit the first Roland, carefully aim for the second one. Congratulations, now you have eliminated 80% of stock players' difficulties in Heli PVE. Now you got 2 choices. Either get the base all on your own, or give it to someone else, and you yourself start moving towards other Rolands. Personally, I choose the second option. Unless there is a KA-50 that is way more hungrier than me. Then I will go full on engagement and take share of my bases. Remember, you are a KA-50. You have the power to be a devastating teammate and leave no kills behind, or you can roleplay as God and give your stock teammates an opportunity to get some points. At the end of the day, we're going to play a video game. Sure, this may not make the grind fun, but if it makes it less painful for others, to me, I'm totally down for it. Let's all spread positivity. Okay, you know what? Enough of me acting as the good guy. Time for some domination! But overall, I think the KA-50 is an incredible helicopter. If you want to, you can purchase this helicopter in a bundle with 2000 GE and 15 days of premium account. And of course, I hope you enjoy this bundle. I wanted to have a special thanks to my friends Flogger and Raging Willy. About 2 months ago, I was not really having a good time due to my life situation, and the heavy protests that were happening in my country, and with the conscription getting closer day after day, it was not helping either. My friend Willie saw this and gifted me my favorite premium that I always wanted to have but couldn't buy, or didn't have the right to buy. The KA-50, and I was absolutely shocked. He also helped me out with some premium accounts, making the grind much easier for me. And of course, my friend Flogger. Not only he did these incredibly amazing drawings so I could use them on my YouTube channel, but also he gave me a lot of GE so I could purchase the MiG-21S, and helping me researching the modules on the Mi-24. They told me that I should never give up, that one day I will be out of this hellhole of a country. To be honest, I really don't know how to thank you guys for all the supports that you gave me, and everything in my life is absolutely limited, and my hands are tightened up behind my back. I hope that I can at least return the favor by creating the best content I possibly can, not only to my friends, but also to you, the viewer. The support on the previous video was absolutely incredible, and thank you so much, guys. Thank you for everything. Overall, the KA-50, despite being a vehicle that I always hated, it has a special place in my heart. Pick it up from the store and do what you always wanted to do. Wreak havoc and win. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can always like and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. This is me, Bob Dickinson, signing out.